Hey, how's it going guys? Welcome to another Excel VBA tutorial video. My name is Jay. In this tutorial, we're going to write a VBA script to split a table in Excel. So assuming that you have a source table, and for example, here I have an Excel spreadsheet that contains the San Francisco registered business location. And from this data set, I want to split this data set based on different type of categories. So it can be any categories. We can split this table by city, by state, by DBA name. I don't think ownership is the right column to use. But the idea is we're going to write a VBA automation, and that VBA script is going to be used as a template that we can reuse for something else later on when we need to do something similar. So here's the Excel workbook that I'll be using for demonstration. And assuming that I want to split this this table by let's do states. So I want to split this data set into multiple Excel workbook by different states. And if I apply auto filter, and if I go back, so this is going to be column G. If I look at the available states items, so we have quite many states, but at the same time, if we look at this data set and we have multiple duplicate state names, so California shows up multiple times and New York shows up multiple times and so on. And this VBA code can be used for any other data set as well. So first, we want to save this regular Excel file as macro-enabled file, and to do that, we want to go to File, Save As, and I'm going to browse to the folder where I want to save my Excel macro-enabled file. So I'm going to save my file under my Tutorials Excel VBA Split Table folder, and I want to save the file type to Excel macro-enabled workbook, and save. Alright, now next we want to go to the Developer tab and open the Visual Basic window. So here I'm going to insert a new module, and so right click your mouse and insert a new module. And actually let me change the module name. So what I did was that I click on module 1, and you can use the shortcuts F4, or you can go to View and click on Properties window. So that will display the object property window. So I'm going to rename this module to M and split table. So next time when I come back to this file, I know exactly what this module is used for. And here I'm going to create my main subroutine, and I'll name this subroutine split data set. I also create a constant variable. So this variable is going to store the target folder path. So actually, let me go back. So let me go back to my folder. I want to save my output files to this output folder. So I'll grab the folder path, and I'll just copy and paste to my target folder variable. And don't forget the backward slash. And next, I need to create my objects and variables. So I'm going to have a source worksheet, as well as a helper worksheet. Oh, so I forgot to mention. Actually, let me finish the code. So let me go back to my Excel spreadsheet. Within my Excel spreadsheet, I already created a helper worksheet. And this helper worksheet is going to basically to streamline the automation process. So let's go back to the VBA script. So I already create two worksheet objects. And next I want to create my variables. So I'm going to declare last row variable as long and the last column variable as long. Now let's go back to the split data set subroutine, and I'll create a collection object. I'll name this collection Unitless as collection. the collection unitless object is going to store the unitless of the categories that will be passing to split the Excel files. And here I'm going to declare another helper variable as I. Now I'm going to create my collection unitless object. So I'll type set collection unitless is equals to new collection. And here I need to empty out the object. I also do the same to create my worksheet objects. The first object is going to be the source worksheet. And my worksheet name is going to be registered business locations. So I'll just copy the worksheet name and I'll just paste it over. Next is the helper worksheet. Now imagine you're doing this manually. So if I were doing this manually, the first thing I would do is I'll clear the helper sheets. So I'll remove all the contents, and here I have some stuff in this worksheet. So I'll select everything on the helper worksheet, and I'll remove everything on this worksheet. So that's the first thing I would do. So worksheet help ws helper sales clear contents. And I'll clear everything on the helper worksheet. Clear helper worksheets. Next, I'm going to insert with statements and I'm going to pass the source worksheet object as the main object we'll be working on. So let's go back to the source data set. And the next step is want to remove the auto filters in case if the auto filter mode is applied. So I'll set the auto filter mode to false. Now I want to figure out the last row value based on column A. So assuming that in column A, which is the location ID column, and we're going to assume that all the values in location ID columns are required. So there cannot be any empty cell. And for the last column, so we're going to use the first row to figure out the last column number. So columns count. And we're going to check from right to left. So x to left dot column. Now assuming this can be scenarios where there's no data available, I'm just going to just use a simple logic. If cell A2 from the source data is empty, then I can safely assume that there's no data set to work with. So here I'll come back to this later. So here let me scroll down to the bottom and I'll make extra lines. So here I'll insert another, I'll insert another checkpoint. So I'll name this checkpoint clean up. And I need to, so the cleanup point is going to be used to, in case if we need to reset everything directly, and we can go to the cleanup position directly. So I want to set the source worksheet object as nothing, and the helper sheets worksheet object as nothing as well. And where we are now, so if cell A2 is empty, then we want to go to clean up. But if not, we can assume that there's some data in this source data worksheet. So if that's the case, then I want to figure out my unique list of categories. So in this case will be the state column. And I'll create another private subroutine and to figure out the unique list. So I'll name this private subroutine init unique list collection. And we're going to have a by reference parameter. This is going to be by reference because we want to modify the input parameter. So it's collection. And another parameter is going to be the last row number of the source data worksheets. So last row as long. Inside this private subroutine, I'm going to declare the last row variable again, and row number as long. So from the source data worksheets range, and this is going to be so we need to figure out the column we want to use to create the unique list. And my unique list is going to be coming from the state column, so it's going to be column G. So it's going to be from G2 all the way to G2 all the way to the last row. So source worksheets underscore last row dot copy, and I want to copy the column to the helper sheets. So I'll copy that to cell range A1. So unique list column. If you want to use a different column, and so assuming that you want to use city, then you want to change the reference from G2 to F2. So it will be like this, and this will split your source data by the unique city list. But since I want to split the source data by states, so I want to change the reference back to column G. Now from the helper worksheets, again I want to do another check, so just in case. And for me, the more validation the better. So here I'll do another validation, and so range A1. So if range A1, so if the character size in range A1 from the helper worksheets is greater than 0, actually this should be an if. I want to figure out the last row number from the helper sheets. And from range A1 to the last row of column A, so last row. And I want to remove all the duplicates items. So I'll apply the remove duplicates method, and it's going to be the first column. And do we want to include headers? And I'm going to say no. Now I'm going to reset the last row variable. So rows counts based on column A. Now I want to sort my list. So from A1 to the last row. And I want to apply the sort method that range A1. And since we don't have a header, so my header is going to be external. Now I'm going to reset the last row again. So the reason why I'm resetting the last row variable is because in case if you have empty cells, so for example, from my data sets, as you can see that some of the state cells are empty, and I want to take the empty cells into consideration as well. So that's why I'm resetting the last row variable. And this will be int excel up that row. Now we're going to pass the unique list to our collection Unitless object. This collection object right here is going to contain our Unitless. So here on error resume next, we want to just ignore all the errors. If duplicate keys is trying to add to my collection object. So for row number, is equals to 1 to last row. And from our collection input parameter, so we want to add the key value to our collection object. So dot cells, row number, and based on the cell in column A. So the first parameter is the value that you want to add to your collection object, and the second parameter is your key to retrieve the value. But in this case, the key and the values are going to be the same. And since the key can only be string, in case if the cell data type is integer or double, they want to convert those data type to string first. So based from the row number in column A, that value. Let me check. It should be 1 parenthesis. Okay. And that's it for the Unitless collection subroutine. Now let me just go to debug and just do a quick compile to make sure that I don't have any typo. So here I made a syntax typo, so this should be and if. Let me try again. And this is also another typo. Right, now I'm not getting any compile error. That is a pretty good sign. Now I have the Unitless collection subroutine created. We can now code the subroutine. So just think this subroutine as a function, and we'll code this function. We'll pass our collection object, so which is this one right here. And my second parameter is the last row variable. Oh, and this should be by value, because we don't want to alter the object value. So once we code the Unitless collection subroutine, and this collection Unitless object is going to get updated. So let's just run it. So if I go to my split data set subroutine and press F5 just to run it. Now let me go to my emitter window. So if I do a print collection Unitless.count, and that tells me that for my state column, which is column G, I have 33 unique items. Alright, let me stop the execution and let me remove the stop statements. Here I'm going to turn off the display alerts notification. The reason why is because every time when you try to save a new Excel workbook, a notification is going to pop up if your Excel file type is macro enabled. I don't want that notification to pop up, so I'm going to turn that off. But remember, we need to turn that back when we finish running the macro. At the cleanup point, I want to set the display alert back to 2. Here I'm going to insert a loop, and I'm going to say that for I is equals to 1 to collection Unitless.count, collection Unitless.count. And I want to split the source data individually to different Excel spreadsheets. So how are we going to do that? To do that, I'm going to create another subroutine, or you can think that as a function to perform the task. So I'll name this subroutine split worksheets. And I'm going to have a parameter, and this parameter is going to be category name. So eventually, sorry, let me go back. The input data type is going to be variant because the category name can be integer, can be strings, or even can be Boolean value, so true or false. And we don't know the category data type, so I'll use variant. And because, remember, like I said, we can use this VBA script applied to different source data. It doesn't necessarily mean that this VBA script can only be used for this Excel file. So that's why I'm naming this input parameters category name. And here I'm going to declare my objects. And this is going to be a target workbook. So actually it should be WB targets. Workbook, target as workbook. And the target workbook is going to be the workbook that I want to save to our target folder. We'll type workbooks.add. This will create a new workbook. And again, so when we finish, we want to empty the object. And it should be WB, not WS. So from the source worksheets, we want to first apply the auto filter, and once we apply the auto filter, we want to copy the data sets to the newly created Excel workbook, and from this line right here, we want to copy paste and change the worksheet name and save the Excel workbook and close the Excel workbook. So here I'm going to insert another word statement, so it's going to be a next word statement. So from range.cells row number 1 and the first column, so which is this cell right here. And so from cell A1 to last row, last column. I want to apply auto filter first, that range, and it's going to be G1.column. So for the field parameter, we want to supply the column number, and my criteria is going to be category name. So category name. And I want to copy the data sets. And once we copy the data sets, we want to paste the data sets to the target workbook. So it's going to be the first worksheet, paste. In case if you don't want to copy paste the formatting, so you can do paste spatial, and I think the syntax is x values. So if you use this line right here, that'll only copy paste the values and you ignore the formatting. Assuming that I want to include the formatting, so that workbook targets, that worksheets. I'm just going to use paste method to paste everything, including the formatting. And for the worksheet names, this is going to be optional, but I want to rename the worksheet name to the category name. And once we've done that, so I can save the Excel workbook. So save as. I'll pass the target for the variable and followed by the category name. And it's going to be XLSX, just the regular Excel file type. And the file format is 51. Now I can close the target workbook. So workbook target.close. So I'll set this to false. And that's it. Now let me just do a quick compile. Alright. Now let's go back to the loop. So for I is equals to 1 to collection list.count. and here we can retrieve so we can basically iterate each state value. So I'll show you. So I'll put a break here. I'll just run the subroutine. Now if let me do this. So if I do debug.print, and if I try to print the uniqueness by providing just the index number, and I'll put a stop right here. If I resume the macro from the immediate window, and based on the index value that I provide, and it's going to print the state name associated to that index number. These are going to be your category names. So we have the category names, so we can call the split worksheets subroutine or function, and that should be it. And last thing is to turn off the auto filter. So active sheets, auto filter mode, and I'll turn that off. Alright, so that's everything in terms of writing the VBA script. And I'll do last compile. And everything looks good. So now here, let me go back to my output folder. So currently this output folder is empty. Now if I go to view, macros, and run the split dataset macro, and let's take a look. Okay, seems the process is finished. So I should expect 33 files. So if I highlight all the files, and here from the status bar, we have 33 items. Just to do one more validation, and if I open one of the file, so let's open California, and here's the Excel file for California. And you should see that in column G, and all the states should belongs to California. And if I open another file, let's do Wisconsin. And from Wisconsin, there's only one record, and the state name is Wisconsin. So that looks pretty good. Yeah, so I guess this is everything. And I spent about, I'll say, when I first wrote the VBA script, it took me about probably like an hour. Imagine that if you're doing this manually, if you have a data set that is, let's do 5,000 rows of records. And if you have like 50 or even, let's just do 25 unique lists in some categories that you need to split the table into multiple Excel files, and that still takes you more than 45 minutes to an hour. Especially if you need to perform the same task maybe every week, every month, or every quarter. Using a macro will still save you tremendously amounts of time. But yeah, so this is everything I have to share in this video, and hopefully you guys found the video useful. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video.